Today I effed up by almost shipping my coworkers to Hong Kong while they had sex. This did not happen today. This was a fuck up. I have told no one of this before. I used to work for a very large logistics company as a supervisor out on one of their flight ramps. I was there for years. And I had asserted myself as an essential employee after some managers changed hands and things almost went belly up for a lot of us. When things settled, I became a catch-all assistant for the new manager. And I would do a little bit of everything. Mostly on my own discretion. I have to say that because a lot of this story may just seem like me wandering around an active flight ramp for no reason. If you assume that, you are right. But the important thing is that not only did my boss think I was working, but he also thought I was doing it very well. I was doing neither. So on one chilly spring night, I was on a flight ramp dock checking the empty containers that get loaded with freight and put onto the planes. This consists of spotting a can, opening several spring locks, checking inside, closing the can, and marking it as empty on a little scanner. Anyway, it's menial work. And the night is slow. I spend hours alternating between checking cans and abandoning my job to talk to coworkers or mess around with something completely unproductive. In the middle of doing the latter, I get a call to help out on a plane going to Hong Kong. I zip over there, help out the new supervisor, talk to some pilots, and head back to my cans. At this point, it's like 6 in the morning, and I am exhausted. I'm shuffling through a boredom-induced coma when I find a can positioned in the corner of the dock with its door wide open. I wander around to close it when I realize 2 employees are just boning down inside. And it's not pretty either. It's mean. Third shift. Need to buy more cigarettes. Don't look me in the eyes kind of sex. They seriously look like they are trying to hurt each other. But the roaring of the nearby jet engine swallowed up any noise the more I had been making, much like how she appeared to be swallowing most of his hand. I think it's pretty funny. And seeing as my shift was just about to be over, I don't even bother considering to report it. I know both of them are college students who really need the work. So, I decide to play a little harmless prank on them just to teach a lesson and help them avoid any trouble. I shut and lock the can. See? These cans have spring locks that operate from the outside. The only things really supposed to be in those cans are packages. And it's not like the packages need a way to get out from the inside. I figured eventually they would start banging on the can, or each other again. And someone would come by to help them out. That, my friends, is not how the story ends. Instead, as I am just about to badge out for the day, I get an urgent call on my phone. Usually correspondence is made on the radios exclusively. So a call on the phone is really serious. I wasn't given any details other than get back to the Hong Kong flight immediately. I just figured the supervisor on the flight was having a newbie freak out or something. It wasn't uncommon to see new soups crack. But when I get there, she is cracking up. Like, she is laughing so hard someone is having to hold her up. Turns out, she was just finishing up the plane when she got directions to put some empty cans on the plane from a nearby dock. There are hundreds, maybe even thousands of cans she could have pulled. But somehow against all odds one of the containers she grabs mysteriously has 2 fornicating freshmen inside who didn't bother to start calling for help until after they were locked inside the fuselage of a 747. The new supervisor is so clueless as to how to handle almost shipping 2 humans to Hong Kong that she was just relieved for the day, leaving me to clean up the whole mess. Oh. And not just a figurative mess. Yup. I spent nearly 4 extra hours on overtime having to write an incident report, finish the plane, and literally help the hazmat team mop up seamen. TL. Doctor, I watch people have sex before trying to ship them to Hong Kong but wind up spending my morning cleaning up post-coital juices for overtime money. Edit. Spelling. Edit 2. Yo. I figured this didn't need to be said. But some people seem to be a little confused. This is today I effed up. I fucked up. And I absolutely don't condone this. And for the people that said they could have gotten hurt, you're right. Which is why it's a fuck up. For all the folks who are indignant that this isn't safe. Yup. Everyone gets that. Imagine being one of the hazmat guys. So you are a member of a hazmat team? What substance did you recently work with? Double quote. Seamen. Lots of seamen. Double quote. This isn't too far from the truth. The company I worked for shipped gallons of bull semen all the time in these mushroom-shaped buckets. If you grabbed them by the lid, the weight of the bull squirt could break the seal and spill everywhere. Hazmat cleaned that up too. Quick question. Why would anyone need bull semen and how do you even extract it? Better not be some poor guy's job to jack off a bull for a living. Edit. Jesus Christ, I'm never asking you people about semen again. Woke up with 40+ replies. This gonna take ages. Jesus Christ, this could have ended so terribly. Everything about it is hilarious. Hope cleaning up semen wasn't as bad as it sounds. Edit. I just looked at this again. Why am I being so heavily upvoted? OMG. Thank you everyone. Semen cleaning canvas are my new go-to for karma upvotes. Man, that post was a wild ride. So was one of the coworkers. Apparently. I also work for a very large logistics company and now I'm trying to decide what can type would be the least terrible to bone in. Thanks. I hate it. They seem to like AMDs. Yeah. I was thinking either that or an AMJ. Today I effed up by ordering my mother sushi for the first time without instructions. My parents immigrated to Canada 27 years ago from Central America. Just last week my sisters and I realized our parents had never had sushi. Doesn't really surprise me about my dad since he's a pretty picky eater. My mom loves seafood though and said she would be willing to try it but didn't know what to order. I told her to let me know sometime this week and I'll order her some through a delivery app. So. Last night my mom texts me and asks if I can make an order for her and order something normal for my dad. I order her a dynamite roll and baked salmon roll to ease her into the flavors. I order my dad some beef udon. Put my phone down and go back to watching a movie. About an hour and a half later my phone starts to ring. It's my dad. I figure it's to let me know what they think. I answer and he sounds so angry. As a family we're constantly switching back and forth between Spanish and English but this was all Spanish. So I knew he was real angry. It's pretty much idiot. What did you give your mother? She's screaming like she's dying. Do I need to call an ambulance? She's crying and covering her mouth. Our family is pretty notorious for pranking each other and there may have been a time or two when I've messed with my parents' food while traveling. This was not one of those times though and I'm confused and have no idea what's going on. I can hear my mom screaming in the background. I tell my dad I have no idea what's going on and the stuff I order is pretty normal standard stuff. Then I hear it. ESDA guacamole. Yup. My poor mother had mistaken wasabi for guacamole and put all of it on one piece of dynamite roll. After holding the phone away from myself and laughing for a minute I was able to explain to my dad what it was and you're only supposed to use it sparingly. After a few glasses of water she was fine. Said she loved the rolls and is ready to try the real stuff. This just happened to reinforce my dad's stubbornness to try new foods. TLDR, Mom thought wasabi was guacamole. It wasn't. You aren't the only one. One Chinese buffet here had a sign in Spanish saying that it's wasabi and not guacamole and it's very hot. That does not seem like enough of a warning for a Spanish or Latin American person. Caliente? Me gusta caliente. Haha, yet this happened to my Chilean grandmother. I didn't notice but she ate all the wasabi in one go thinking it was avocado. She took it like a champ though and kept eating everything. The wasabi is usually just green horseradish. Real wasabi is super expensive and is insanely hard to grow. No. It's hard to distribute. It has a shelf life of hours. Yeah. Had a close call with someone. Work lunch with colleagues from Europe and China. Went to sushi. While there are sushi restaurants in Europe, one of them had never been. It arrives. And he is asking about wasabi. He pantomimes dipping the whole thing in soy and everyone at the table raises their hands and say, No 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 no. I've got apparently an above average tolerance for horseradish. This is basically my only power move, casually eat the whole wad of wasabi in front of others and watch them suffer as they think oh not so bad. Wasabi is more bitter to me than spicy. But it's great when you mix some into the soy.